What's up, guys? Welcome back to Battle City Games. This is Teague, and I'm here with another one of our post-Lightning Overdrive deck profiles for June. This is the post-Lightning Overdrive Evil Twin deck profile. This is a pure build. We're not mixing it with anything else. We're just going Evil Twins all the way. This deck got a new card in the set that I really think kind of helps the deck out, and we'll be getting even more support in Dawn of Majesty, so the deck still has great places to go. As always, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. I know I've said it before, but we have Lightning Overdrive themed content planned for the entire month, leading all the way up to the launch of King's Court. And with the remote dual YCS drawing closer, you can guarantee that we'll have some metagame talk and some upcoming strategy talk for you in order to help get you prepared for that if you plan on participating. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in to Evil Twins. So as you may know, the gimmick here is the main deck monsters are live twins. They are VTubers or essentially YouTubers. And then the extra deck monsters are their alter egos, which are Jewel Thieves and the evil ones. So we're starting off with triple live twin Kiss-a-Kill. Level 2 Cyberse monster. When our opponent's monster declares an attack, we gain 500 life points. She's not usually going to be on the field for that to matter. The important part is when she is normal or special summoned and we control no other monsters, we can special summon one Leela monster from our hand or deck. That's once per turn. But really she's just going to help us get essentially one card Link 2 started. And to pair with her, we of course have her counterpart, Live Twin Leela. Leela has the same ability that if she is summoned and we control no other cards, we can special summon a Kiss-a-Kill. And if our opponent declares an attack, they must pay 500 life points. Again, that part's not really going to come up. We just care about getting her on board to get access to a Kiss-a-Kill. For our other three ofs, we are playing triple backup secretary. Now, don't crucify me. I know I said pure, but like I said, pure means we're not playing any sort of other engines such as Unchained or Eldritch in the deck. There's not really enough live twin monsters yet to play them solely by themselves, so we have to utilize some other extenders. But nonetheless, triple backup secretary. If we control a Cyberse monster, we can special summon her from our hand. Your Kiss-a-Kill or your Leela, if your opponent sees that come down, it's going to be an instant Ash Blossom from them in most cases. And if that happens, we want to make sure that we can still get a second monster on board. So backup secretary just being a free summon helps out a lot. I have seen some people reduce this because of some veneer support, but in a little bit I'll go over why I think that is kind of incorrect at the moment. Moving on to our other three of, we have triple Parallel Exceed. We are a link-based deck, so of course we want access to Parallel Exceed to just give us some further extenders. One Parallel Exceed equals 2 level 4 monsters. We do play a couple of Exceeds in our extra deck as well, so it allows us to set up a little bit more powerful boards. Now for the brand new support from Lightning Overdrive, we're playing double Live Twin Kiss-a-Kill Frost. She is a Aqua monster that says if we control a Leela monster, we can special summon her from our hand. We can only do that once per turn. And then if a card is added from the main deck to our opponent's hand by a card effect, while she is in our graveyard and we control an Evil Twin monster, we can banish her from our graveyard to draw a card. So that's really good if you ask me. Every deck nowadays is going to be adding cards to the hand. So when our opponent does so, the Kiss-a-Kill Frost is just going to give us an additional draw to dig a little bit further into our deck. Now, what I was mentioning with a backup secretary, I've seen some people cut that down since we have Kiss-a-Kill Frost now. But the important thing to remember is Frost requires you to specifically control a Leela monster. So if you open a Live Twin Kiss-a-Kill, your opponent Ash Blossoms it, and you have a Frost in hand, you're dead in the water, which is why I think having the backup secretary still is such an important thing. But if we are able to utilize Frost and especially get her to our graveyard, we definitely gain some advantage from doing so. And then we also have the one Live Twin Leela Treat. This was our new card from Blazing Vortex. She says if we control a Kiss-a-Kill monster, we can special summon her from our hand. And then if she's in our graveyard, when either player takes damage from a battle involving an Evil Twin monster, we can banish her, target a face-up monster our opponent controls, and it loses attack equal to the battle damage. And that is once per turn, and she is a zombie monster. So the reason I only play one of her versus two Frost is, in my opinion, she's a little more situational. Frost just requires our opponent to add a card, and then will let us draw a card. Treat is going to require us to get to the battle phase, take battle damage, and then utilize her effect. Now, don't get me wrong, her effect can be really useful. If our opponent runs over one of our Evil Twin monsters, we can activate her to reduce that opponent's monster attack by that same amount of damage we took, ensuring that they won't be able to run over our second Evil Twin, and that we'll survive with the monster on board going forward, hopefully. So, still a good card. I just don't think she's quite as good as Frost, which is why we only go with one. Now, an important thing to remember with both Treat and Frost is they are not Cybers like their normal counterparts. They're Zombie and Aqua, so there's no searching these off of anything like Cynet Mining. Moving on to our hand traps. The thing with Pure Evil Twin that I like is you have a lot of room to run hand traps to disrupt your opponent. So we are playing triple Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring alongside triple Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. I think that these are some of the best hand traps for this format. Ash Blossom, of course, just always stopping the opponent from searching from their deck, and Ghost Bell stopping anything that would interact with their graveyard or banish. Again, you've got a lot of room for hand traps. I think that these are some of the best this format, especially paired with this deck, but if there's another one you prefer, you could always substitute for either of these. So that's going to do it for all of our main deck monsters. Moving on into our spells. We are playing triple Cynet Mining because this will let us search either our Live Twin Leela, our Kiss-a-Kill, or our backup Secretary, depending on what we need, at the simple cost of sending a card from our hand to the graveyard. And this does actually pair well with our Frost or our Leela Treat, since if we don't need to summon them, we can discard them off of the mining in order to make their graveyard effects live as soon as possible. Moving forward, for some more consistency, we have triple Secret Password. This just lets us add one Live Twin or Evil Twin spell or trap from our deck to our hand. But if we control a Kiss-a-Kill and a Leela monster, we can add a Evil Twin monster from our deck to our hand. But as you probably noticed, we don't play the Evil Twin monster in our main deck because, in all honesty, it's not very good, and we want to win games. But the ability to search any of our spell or traps with this card is what we're really going after. Moving on from there, we're playing triple Live Twin Home. This is a quick play spell that says to discard one card and special summon either a Kiss-a-Kill or a Leela monster from our deck. For the rest of the turn after it resolves, we are locked into Evil Twin monsters from our extra deck, so it is not ideal, but we are just concerned with maximizing the consistency that we will see a Kiss-a-Kill or a Leela, and this paired with Secret Password and Cynet Mining means that we are playing 12 copies of each, so you're going to see one on your first turn. Moving on into our traps now, we do play quite a few. We have triple Solemn Strike. Just ends chains, shuts down our opponent's effects, and provides maximum disruption. You could substitute this for something else if you wanted, but I just think Solemn Strike is a great card all around, especially in control or stun-based decks. Moving on from there, we have our 7th, 8th, and 9th hand trap in Infinite Impermanence. Again, lots of room for hand traps in Evil Twin. We want to maximize the number of disruptions we can have during our opponent's turn, and if we end up second, we want to minimize the board they're going to make, which is why Imperm is great. And you always have that possibility of shutting down an opponent's column if they forget and play into the Imperm column. And then for our Evil Twin traps, we are playing 2 Evil Twin Challenge, 1 Evil Twin Present, and what is possibly the best named card in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! One Evil Twin GGEZ. So challenge says that we can target a Kiss a Kill or Leela monster in our graveyard, special summon it, and then if we want to, we can immediately after it resolves link summon one Evil Twin Link monster using monsters we control as material. That second effect can come up, but honestly doesn't really. We're mostly just playing this for recursion. If our opponent does manage to break both of our Evil Twins off board, we want to have a way to get them back without having to go through our whole Leela Kiss a Kill line again if we can avoid it. So that's what challenge is here for. Present has the unique ability that if we control both a Kiss a Kill and a Leela, we can activate one of these effects. Target a Kiss a Kill or Leela monster we control, and a face-up monster our opponent controls, switch control of those monsters, or target a set spell or trap our opponent controls, and shuffle it into the deck. More often than not, you'll be going for that first effect. You will almost always end your first turn with a Kiss a Kill and Leela monster. So this just serves as a disruption for our opponent by switching control of one of them to our opponent. And then once we're able to get that card into the graveyard, we can always revive it with our Kiss a Kill or Leela, whichever one we left ourselves with. And then for the last one, in Evil Twin GGEZ, we can tribute a Kiss a Kill or Leela monster, then activate one of the following effects. Target a Kiss a Kill or Leela monster we control. It gains attack equal to the original attack of the tributed monster until the end of the turn. Or when a card or effect is activated, it would destroy a card on the field. We can negate that effect. So the Evil Twin extra deck monsters, as you will see, are not the most powerful. So the ability to maybe attack directly with one of them, then tribute it to double the attack of other, can allow us to push for some much needed damage. But also, outside of that, the ability to get one of them into the graveyard to then be revived to trigger one of their effects is also equally as important, which is why we play one. Again, these are all searchable with your secret password, which is why you don't need too many copies of either. And you could move these ratios around a little bit if maybe you only want to play one challenge. You could bump Present or GGEZ up if you prefer to have more access to one of those. So that's going to do it for the main deck. We're going to move on into the extra deck and get that going for y'all. So, of course, we are playing triple Evil Twin Kiss a Kill. Kiss a Kill says that she takes 2 monsters, including a Kiss a Kill monster. If she is special summoned and we control a Leela monster, we can draw 1 card. And then during the main phase, if we do not control a Leela monster, quick effect, we can special summon 1 Leela from our graveyard. Also, we cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Fiend monsters. We do play quite a few Fiend monsters in our extra deck, so we don't have to worry about that too much. The great thing here is, 1, the ability to draw a card when she's summoned, but also just that ability to revive a Leela monster during either player's turn. From there, we are also playing triple Evil Twin Leela, excuse me, keep going back and forth on that. She requires 2 monsters, including a Leela monster. And then if she is special summoned and we control a Kiss a Kill monster, we can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. And she also has that same effect. If we don't control a Kiss a Kill monster, we can special summon 1 from our graveyard. So whereas Kiss a Kill allows us to draw and thin our deck and get access to our resources, Leela allows us to remove our opponent's resources by destroying a card. So in most cases, you're going to be looking to summon Kiss a Kill back on your turn to draw a card, and then make sure you can summon a Leela back on your opponent's turn in order to destroy a card and disrupt them. And obviously these are both able to summon back the Link monster, which means you can extremely easily get into some Link 4s with this deck, which you'll see in just a moment. And we do max out on both because in the grind games we want to make sure that we don't run out of access to them from our extra deck. For our other Link 2, we have the 1 IP Masquerena. Pretty easy again with stuff like Parallel Exceed and Backup Secretary to get some monsters on board to make the Masquerena. And then we can utilize her alongside our Leela or Kiss a Kill if we choose so, in order to Link Summon on our opponent's turn into one of our many Link 3 or 4 options. From there, we have 1 Link 3, that is Nightmare Unicorn. As always, this just pairs great with Masquerena to provide some disruption during our opponent's turn by spinning a card. So you could essentially do something like summon back a Leela, pop a card, and then use Masquerena to go into Unicorn and spin another card, so you get 2 disruptions right there. Now moving on into our Link 4s, we play quite a few. First up is going to be Nightmare Griffin. This is a fiend, so we can make it under the restriction of Kiss a Kill or Leela. And it does have the ability to target a spell or trap in our graveyard and set it if we choose to do so when it's summoned. We can do that, not so much what we're looking for. We're looking for the co-linked ability here, which says that special summon monsters on the field cannot activate their effects unless they are linked. It's very easy to get this co-linked thanks to our arrows from Kiss a Kill and Leela. So we can utilize Griffin to kind of lock our opponent out of their effects early on. We then are also playing 1 Unchained Abomination. Again, fiend monster, so we can go into it under our restrictions. And since our Leela allows us to destroy cards, it's really easy to get this ability going and just continuously pop cards on our opponent's field. And again, if we make it with Masquerena, he will not be able to be destroyed by card effects, which just makes it that much more difficult for our opponent to get over him. And he can cause things to spiral out of control for our opponent very quickly if they can't deal with him. For our last 2 Link 4s, we have the 1 Avermax and the 1 Access Code Talker. If you've watched any of my other profiles that feature Masquerena, you know that I always like to pair it with Avermax, just to create a Towers monster that our opponent will have one heck of a time getting over. And then, of course, Access Code, again, super easy to make Link 4s in this deck. All he takes is any 2 plus effect monsters, and we can go for the OTK from there. We are playing 1 Link 5 in this deck, and that is the relatively new Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Again, she's a fiend monster, takes 4 plus effect monsters, but says we can also use 1 monster our opponent controls as link material to link summon her. If she is link summoned, we can negate the effects of all face-up monsters our opponent currently controls. And this link summon card is unaffected by our opponent's activated effects unless they target this card once per turn. When our opponent activates a card or effect that special summons a monster from her graveyard, we can negate that activation. So again, really easy to go into for our deck, but if we're able to go into her on our opponent's turn, utilizing Masquerena, we can use her ability to negate all of our opponent's monster effects on board as a disruption. And since she has to be specifically targeted, having that extra destruction effect from Masquerena works even more so. And again, because we can utilize one of our opponent's monster, if we have, let's say we have a Kiss a Kill and a Masquerena, when our opponent summons a monster, we can use Masquerena, Kiss a Kill. Well, we would have to use 3 of our monsters, but there's still plenty of ways to easily get her on board in order to disrupt our opponent. And then for our 2 Exceed monsters we play, we have the 1 Abyss Dweller and the 1 Baguska. Abyss Dweller is just one of the all-around best rank 4s we have access to, in my opinion, right now. Shutting off graveyard effects is always great. But if you want to stick more to the themes, you could always go with Exciton Knight to provide yourself with some potential board clear ability. And then Baguska is in fact a fiend monster, so we can make it under restrictions from Kiss a Kill and Leela. And it says that if he is in once per turn during the standby phase, we detach a material from this card. If we cannot destroy it, this attack position card cannot be destroyed by our opponent's card effects, and our opponent cannot target it with attacks, cannot target it with card effects. And while he is in face-up defense position, we change all face-up monsters on the field to defense position and negate the activated effects of monsters that were in defense position when their effect was activated. So since we're a link-based deck, that means our monsters will not be able to go to defense position. So if we establish this on our first turn with a Parallel Exceeds, it's going to make any monster that our opponent summons from, say, their hand much more difficult to get the effect off of, and kind of force them to maybe go into some link monsters earlier than they would like, or without gaining some effects from the monsters they previously summoned that they may have needed. So that's going to do it for the deck, guys. I really love this deck. I really love the whole theme of the Evil Twins in general. And again, we're getting more support in Dawn of Majesty, but I think will really make this deck even better than it is right now. But like I said, I think Kiss a Kill Frost is a great addition to the deck. Let me know down in the comments, do you prefer the pure variant of this deck? Or do you like playing it mixed in with something like Eldritch or Unchained? Or have you maybe even thought about trying Amazement? That might be an interesting combination to see as well. Let me know down in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our upcoming content. Till next time, I'm T with Battle City Games.